What's happening, ladies and gentlemen of League Zero, and welcome to the postseason press conference for One Trick Wonders. I'm joined by quite a few members of the team. There might be a few more trickling in later on through the recording. So just going from the top to the bottom here, we got Ace Flash, the manager. We got Repeat, the one of the DPS.
I was captain too.
You were captain too as well.
Yeah.
First Abyss, I'm sorry, I don't remember what role you played. I think support, right?
Flex support, yes.
Okay, yes. We got Blazing Blade, a DPS. We have Anti-Crystal, the off-tank, King Genius, the head coach, Martini, another DPS, Poofa, a coach, and Sneaky Snake, one of their main tanks. So, with that, we'll dive. We have about 5 questions and a few other more general questions, lighter questions than some of the ones that people submitted. So, the first question I got for you is going back to the draft, specifically for management. Like, what were you guys looking for in terms of players from the draft? Like, what kind of team were you looking to build?
Okay, Repeat. For me, I kind of want to build a team that was... I think we prioritized comms a little bit over mechanical skill because mechanical skill, in my opinion, can be taught a lot easier than teaching comm structure, and I think we prioritized people that also had a positive mentality and were not able to not get tilted as hard.
How was I drafted then?
Problem. Anthony, no questions. Repeat, do you have anything to add to that?
I don't know, nothing really. I mean, gonna be honest, I didn't really know many of the people that we drafted. I wasn't that involved with it. Ace did most of the work.
Alright. Well, obviously, as the season progressed, you, I think it was towards the middle part of the season where you started to become known for a particular Bastion strat. So, how did that come about? Like, how did you discover that the Bastion strat kind of worked?
So, that's my fault, or at least my doing. We had a really rough 2 weeks against whatever games 6 and 7 were.
Wisdom and
Flat Chat, yeah. Those were brutal games that like were close and we could have won, but we just weren't able to seal the deal. And we went into scrims the following week and like we could not get maps. Like 0 maps were had the whole way through. And I was trying different comps. The hero pools were like constantly shifting things. So we couldn't like focus on learning a specific one composition, learning the different tricks all the way around. So we had to find something that would work that we could try and play an interlocking Jenga where we can take one piece out and just put a different one in. And we settled upon the comp that I learned best when I was on Pima. And that ended up being that Bastion Forest strat that played during the Season 2 Grand Finals.
And it really, that comp, like, really went to a lot of people's, like, strengths, like, with the Abysses on the BAP, Anti on the Stigma, and, like, me on the Far. Like, it was, like, a lot of, like, good parts in it that I think also really influenced it, too, and got us good at it.
All right, and obviously I don't think you guys would disagree that you get a lot of flack from the novice community for running that strat. So like, how did you deal with that negative stigma that came about of you guys being like the Bastion one trick team?
It was interesting because like no one wanted to scrim us.
I mean,
like
no, everybody wanted to stay away from us.
It made my job a lot harder. Just finding scrims was painfully painful.
The way we dealt with it was just playing those teams in the following weeks and taking maps from them. But when it came to like finding scrims and stuff, the one that specifically sticks in my mind is when we scrimmed Rio and we were playing that composition. They got upset and they started playing on off rolls and we're like, look, we're practicing for a really difficult game that's coming up. We don't care if you've given up on the season. We don't care if you've given up on this scrim. We need you guys to actually be trying. And they're like, well, we're trying something new. Our top 500 coach is teaching us to do this. And it's like, that's great, but we need you to be trying. It isn't trying to be doing hammer-only Torb. And then procedurally, we left because we could just play internals and have a much better scrim. And then they proceeded to clown us and tell everybody that we were throwing stuff. So we just had to deal with it and let the scoreboard talk for us.
The way I dealt with it is I just kept practicing BAP. That's all.
Yeah.
That's how I dealt with it.
All right. Well, this one is actually the question. It's anonymous, so I don't know who submitted it, but I know someone did submit this. I have a few ideas, but they asked, kind of in a similar vein to the previous one, how did you manage to keep the team together despite all the personalities on it? Or do you think that there were personalities on the team at all?
There were definitely personalities.
It was yeah.
From the management perspective, we had quite a few, we had a couple issues with a couple people, but overall, I think that the way that our team didn't implode, like a couple people were expecting it to.
We were close to imploding many times.
Yeah, but I think the thing that kept us together was that we became really close friends because we did a lot of stuff outside of scrims together, like nearly every day. And I think that built a lot of strong bonds between us and prevented us from exploding. So much Jackbox.
A lot of Minecraft.
A lot of
C, Jackbox, Crucible more recently, Pokemon,
Valorant when it came out. We did a lot of stuff outside of Overwatch to help
Minecraft. We had our Minecraft server.
Yeah,
There two of them.
Yeah.
We went through, on the staff side of things, we went through a lot of effort of making sure, like, people were having fun, people were making bonds, but people were still getting practice. And, like, at one point, it was, like, brought up to me that there were issues happening, like, within people's mentalities and stuff, and they just didn't feel good on the team. And so I took the initiative to put together, like, a form that everybody could fill out anonymously, and they would be able to, like, talk about how they feel about the different staff members, how they feel about the different players that are on the team. And that was really good for them, because when I saw, like, for instance, this person had a lot of different complaints that they were very egotistical, then I would be able to bring up to that person, like, you know, hey, we've got to tone this back. We really need to, you know, we need to have a we mentality, not an I mentality. And that really brought things down to a more calm state. And that was right around when the Bastion comp came around. And so we finally started really rolling with that. And that was what got it. Also, Vantage is in lobby, so you can pull him up.
Yeah, I'll drag him up.
Hello, Vantage.
Yo, my bad for being late.
Yeah, you're fired.
After the season.
By the way, our main tank Vantage.
Yeah.
Other main tank.
Yes.
I just want to add to that, like, at the beginning, like, a lot of the players, I struggled a lot to like a lot of the players on our team. I honestly just despised this team at first.
Wow.
Like, I was honestly...
Thanks, Sentai.
We love you too, Ed.
I've never finished. Shut up. Let me finish. I never said this was gonna end poorly. Okay. So, at one point, I was on the verge of just asking to be traded to Hyperflex, but as the season went on, I kind of got over everything, and, like, for example, I bring up Vantage for this. I fucking despised him at first because he was a toxic asshole, but now I talk to him on a daily basis. He's one of my better friends on the team. So, I've like, it was rough at first, but as I grew closer to everybody, I kind of got over everything, all their bad sides.
Yeah.
Well, kind of sticking with the theme of internal struggles, and I'm sure you guys knew this question was coming, so I'll just preface this by saying let's avoid talking about, like, the overarching drama and just focus on, like, what was happening within the team. But, like, what happened specifically that forced you to lose momentum in the semifinals?
I think for, like, from the outside looking in, but still having, like, access to the comms and stuff, I think the biggest problem that we had was, like, sure, the hour break or the 2-hour break wasn't, you know, convenient, and that definitely unwarmed us up, but that can be said for the enemy as well. I think our biggest issue was the fact that we were just tired. We didn't really have too much of a drive left, and Geo just they wanted it more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that we were able to finish the game that night, though. I'm very happy that we were able to.
Yeah.
Like, even if you told me that if we did reschedule, we would have an 85% chance of winning, I still think that I would have gone with what we did and had the game go that night. And I think all of us could agree to that.
Yeah, we were just really glad to be able to play an actual game of Overwatch all the way through and be able to, you know, play it out regardless of who it's against or the situation or players.
And not have the servers crash.
That too.
Yeah.
All right, and the last like tough question I got for you would be like, what would you say is your biggest regret from this season?
Well, obviously not winning it.
Picking up me.
Obviously.
Part of my biggest regret, is I wish I'd grinded hit scan a little more, like especially Kree, because in like the finals game, or not the finals, the semi-final games, like I was playing Kree, and I kind of performed a little poorly, not gonna lie. So I wish I had just done that better, but yeah.
Yeah, our depth certainly started to lack as the season went on, as more issues arose with more players. I think going into playoffs, we had 8 people on the team, like the actual.
Like I don't blame like Ace or any management, but like, just like, I wish we had picked up more people as we dropped people.
Yeah, it's unfortunate we dropped 2 people after the window closed.
Yeah.
That was. That hurt.
But it wasn't them. But it was just like because they weren't really that important anyway. But it was really just like we didn't really have a lot of depth in like the DPS
kind of hurt our depth.
mainly saying. Yeah.
Like going into what we had sneaky advantage main tank, then the anti-off tank. We had 2 DPS.
And Blazing, but Blazing.
Oh yeah, Blazing. We had 3 DPS. And then 2 scores.
Yeah. Blazing
honestly
had like 300 ping.
My biggest regret.
So it's kind of lucky.
My biggest regret is the fact that we were indecisive as staff with just a lot of different actions, like kicking people or like roster moving, role moving, etc. Like if we had been more decisive on that, it's not a like, oh, we needed those people gone in order to be able to win those weeks. It was I don't want to lead those people on, and our mentality could have been saved sooner.
Like it took us like the 2 people that we gave the boot. It took us weeks of deliberation. Like it was such a back and forth. Like one night we'd be like, these people need to go, but then it'd be like, but what if we need them? And then it took us like, since we were just like it was like week 1, and we were talking about dropping one of the players because he said something bad about another one of our players. That was like the first time, and it took us like the entire season to finally give him the boot.
Took like to week 10.
Yeah.
So
my other regret is not asking more questions about Chris as we picked him up. I had the slightest suspicion that Chris wasn't who he said he was, but I didn't do any personal investigation until a friend of mine was like, oh yeah, by the way, Chris is Gino. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I forget, did you drop Chris after the signing window had closed?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Every single drop we made was after the window.
Except for KTO, who just kind of dropped himself.
Yeah, he dropped himself.
Yeah.
Twice.
So
2 times.
2
timer.
Yeah, twice.
2 timer.
He dropped himself twice.
The 2-drop wonder.
My major regret was I didn't have as much fun with it. I took it a bit too seriously, and I let my mental health issues affect me too much during the season.
I think a lot of us.
Like I got way too boomed in
this is just some weeks I really just did not want to show.
Like the staff said in the staff press conference, this is a fun league. Like we shouldn't have took it as serious as some of us did.
Yeah, all in all, I
enjoyed I wish
thoroughly, and I've made a lot of friends through through this whole experience.
Fun.
And like I wish I didn't like I mean taking games seriously is like good, but like I took them so serious and got like so attached to winning every time, and I wish I just had been more loose about that.
Yeah. Like joking around before and after matches would have been better for us instead of just not.
I regret killing my whole team with a Maywall.
You did do that.
You did indeed do that.
We luckily won that game, but
he did. Dude, I remember I was shielding it, and then it's just above me, dude.
And then we all get killed by a Diva bot, and Martini just goes, guys.
I think I was hosting that game.
Yeah.
I just remember the post-match interview. I was like, no, it's not a Martini wall. It's a one-time thing, I swear.
it luckily was a one-time thing, but he almost did it again in scrims one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was so close.
I remember one time playing against Martine in scrims. He blocked Vantage's shatter with his wall.
Oh yeah, dude, it was about to be everybody, dude, and then it's like, no.
He literally cucks his own team more than he cucks the other.
Martine's wall is a double
the other
team. Oh, Martini.
Literally throwing.
Well, on that lighter note, I do have a few questions to close it out. So what would you say your favorite memory is from this season?
My
6K.
first strike.
My 6K.
Dude, when I took 1 point with a fire strike fog.
Yeah.
When we got into the trees in our bunker comp and we recreated Vietnam.
When we got into
the first thing of what the fuck is it called?
It worked.
I really liked it when Martini would quietly yell help in the back line, and then he would die, and we'd all be like, "Wait, Martini, what happened?"
Guys,
just like, "Oh, there's colors."
When we played Bastion, he would just sit there and be like, "Oh, I can see his colors."
He would just hold left click and hope for the best.
My favorite memory was probably the Plat Chat game, because that was, I feel like, the peak of my career.
Wait, the second one or the first one?
The second one.
The second one?
That was my 6K bomb.
That was
my 5K bomb.
That was, yeah.
Because I got player of the match, so that's kind of my favorite one.
I was so upset after I got my Gravite 6K and we lost that. I wanted to kill myself. I was like, "You're gotta be kidding me, right?"
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite memories was in our first Hyperflex game when Anti walked off of King's Row.
Oh yeah.
I remember that being on Hyperflex. That game was super.
Everyone thought it was BM. I was just like, yeah, it was totally.
That game was probably my favorite memory.
Basically, before the first half of the season was my favorite part of League Zero.
But the second half of the season was the Jackbox era and the Minecraft era. So like,
To be fair, my favorite moment was our game 5 when we beat Geo. That
was fun.
Oh, that was a fun game.
I know
that Vantage wasn't enjoying it too much because on Rialto we had like 500 ping.
Oh my god.
Dude,
they lost the map when Vantage was on.
No, dude, they lost like 3 maps when I was on like 500 ping, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, on King's Row, he like was on so high ping that he was just standing still, and I was like a second away from yelling, "Vantage, what the fuck are you doing? You're throwing."
Dude, I swear to God, I landed like 3 shatters at 500 ping.
Yeah.
And they were huge. I'm actually just the best.
We know you are Vantage.
Well, I got one last question for you, and I'm probably going to end up asking this to all the novice teams because memes, but do you stand know you?
Absolutely not.
I don't have ever personally
no comment.
We don't give two shits about any other team, so no.
No comment. I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly don't have an opinion.
I've never talked to know you.
He's in our general catalog.
He was cool too. He was cool during the All-Star game, so shout out to that.
He's a pretty chill guy. I know. He's like never been toxic, so and he takes all the fanfic. He took all the fanfic and didn't really give a shit about it in the Hyperflex versus Plat Chat game.
I don't think I've even talked to know you.
Yeah.
I know. I heard him, and he sounded weirdly like me, and it scared me.
Omega?
Oh, know you? I don't remember if I've ever spoken to him before. Oh, yes, I have. I don't
think
remember what he
my
sounds
brother
like.
has interacted with him more than I have.
Yeah, he's in our general a lot, and so is your brother, so.
Yeah.
Who's your
And your
brother?
brother is.
Who said that? Oh.
My brother.
Yes.
Who's your brother?
Yeah. He's not in the.
Yeah,
main
he's the
Zero
one
channel.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He just kind of vibes in our shit posting channel.
It's pretty much his channel. This shit
Yeah.
channel is
Did
just
he
his
pop
channel.
off?
Okay, well, that's all the questions I've got. Do you guys have any closing statements?
Don't. Okay, this is the thing I learned from our season, alright? Do not rob people of their success, right? Don't rob Geo of theirs. Don't rob us of ours, regardless of a comp we're running. It's. No matter who you are, you want to be acknowledged for the stuff that you accomplish and complete. And that is true for OTW, Geo, PC, probably the people in Intern Advanced, if they have souls, and that's a fact.
I would like to remind everybody that we're all human beings. We're all the same.
Yeah.
So,
Except if you're
bully.
Inter because you're like 100 SR above everybody else, because that makes you a completely different person.
I'm actually the alien.
Vintage, you're the alien?
Yeah, dude.
That has to be our
Just
best
honestly,
insight,
just
though.
be
That
nice
has
to
to be.
everybody. Like, there's no reason to be toxic towards anybody.
Except
Yeah,
if you're
just-
Inter because
just-
you get
it was a good
privileges.
season.
Anti.
Like, even though we came up short, I felt we had a good run.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
first
was
time
great.
we have not been
A couple of us
awful.
are playing together in GGNA, 3 of us. But
Yeah.
I mean,
And
that
this is
keeps
the
a
first
little bit of the
season
team together.
That
But
OTW has not had a losing record, and I live by that.
You're welcome. I mean,
yeah, I
Just
mean,
kidding.
There's a
Just
reason
kidding.
my name is the hard carry of this team at our server, so guess what?
there's
I
a
get
reason
all the
mine was
praise.
gay for super.
I mean, there's a reason why my name on the server is the Boomer.
Yeah.
You guys
I don't
probably
even know what mine's
do.
currently.
Because
Changes
It
every
gets
other day.
changes like every other day.
Blazing's
you
a
are
big simp.
currently.
I'm no simp, man. You guys put me as a simp.
No, you're
you're a simp.
You're a big
actually
simp.
I'm
All
no
right,
simp.
You are a
With that-
stinky screw at the moment.
We're gonna
I
close it
am.
out. Thank you all for showing up, and
Yeah.
tune in. I think the next one is Wisdom, so tune in whenever that's getting uploaded. I have no clue. See ya.